Hey everybody, how's it going? Dan Schinder here on Yes Shift with
Steven Schinder, and we have a very special guest here, the lead singer of Renaissance. It is Annie Haslam. How's it going?
Good. You made it.
we gotta tell everybody, folks, we're sorry we're a little late. That was totally my fault. I had Steve and I on the wrong link, and Annie's wondering what the but we're here. And Annie, so many years of Renaissance. We'll get to that, but I know Steve has a I think, what would be a magical question to ask you.
Yeah, so who were some of your musical influences early on?
We love opening this treasure chest.
Oh, John Baez. Um, Gosh. Well, very early on, when I was a child, I used to watch these old black and white movies in Bolton in Lancashire, and I used to love Gracie Fields.
Yeah.
You probably don't know. She used to sing a song. It's the biggest aspidistry in the world. She used to go, "It's the biggest aspidistry in the world." That's how, and she was an influence on me because mainly for her humour. She was very funny. But John Baez and Joni Mitchell, of course, and I got to meet Joan twice actually. But first time I met her was. Just before, let me think about this. I found out I got breast cancer, and my hair was quite short for me. Well, it was quite short, and so I remember that was 1992 or three or something like that, and she was playing at the Electric Factory in Philadelphia, and I got to meet her afterwards, and I was shaking because. I just grew up. I sang like her when I went for my singing lessons because I copied her. Then when I finished my singing lessons with this opera singer, I found my own voice, But anyway, apart from that, I met her and she knew who I was.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Which was really great. But she was, wow, what a voice. And never met Joni Mitchell, but I loved her as well. Yeah.
Nice. Folks, go ahead and put questions in the chat if you have questions or comments, and Steve will check those out as we go along. I have a different influence question for you, Annie. We admired the paintings that we saw on your Indiegogo page. My mother was an artist. My wife is an artist. Who were some of your influences in that realm of art?
Well, I didn't know I was going to be an artist. I went to art school to be a dress designer. I think I did one painting. It was a watercolor, and I didn't have the patience for it because it was drying too quickly, and it wasn't the time for me, I didn't do that anymore. I did fabric printing and typography and photography and different things like that. But what was the question again? Oh,
your artistic influences when it comes to painting.
Well,
yeah.
I wasn't. Well, I would say somebody like Turner and of course Leonardo da Vinci, but it's like somebody asked me the question about what kind of music did you keep going out and buying and things. Well, I didn't. You know what I mean? I was I didn't put my energy into that. But I mean, I like Turner because it's I loved his work. Monet, of course, Vincent van Gogh, and I had no idea I was going to be a painter, and so it was a voice in my head when I was deciding to kind of wind down my solo career and said it's time to start oil painting now, and that's when I started.
Nice, great.
I get all kinds of different things going on in my studio. I think it's haunted, to be honest.
Nice. Yeah, my wife can relate. Absolutely. Thanks for touching on that because it's part of the Annie Haslam persona as far as we're concerned, especially being that you showed some on the Indiegogo page, which congratulations on that coming through. We're excited to see how that blossoms because that's going to be made from the current tour. Is that correct?
Yes. Which is coming up soon. It's after the pandemic, I wasn't sure whether we would ever work again, and we'd lost all the momentum, like so many people and so many bands, and everybody really, everybody lost everything. It was so awful. Because we signed some contracts for Brazil and Germany, we had to fulfill those. And so we had, whether we liked it or not, we still had to do that. And I wasn't afraid or anything like that. I was just, I think I just got my mind set on the fact that we weren't going to work anymore. But anyway, that happened. And of course, we wanted to work with the orchestra again, who are fantastic. And of course, that takes the band to another whole level. I mean, you would just want to play with an orchestra all the time.
Yeah.
It's just so expensive. That's the problem.
Yeah, even just lunch. Even just lunch, for that matter, becomes expensive.
Yeah. So we decided because it was my 75th year, and I'm proud of it. Some people don't like to talk about their age, but I think, why not?
Yeah, I agree.
It's a survivor.
I'm still singing, and but we decided that because I had a solo career, we hadn't done any of my work for a very long time, and so we thought we could mix it up and have some Renaissance and some of my solo career in there. And I'm so excited because I'd never heard these songs with orchestra on.
Right.
So that's going to be really exciting.
Well, I have a little clip I'd like to show the audience. This is a wonderful find by Stephen. We're going to show just a bit of Ashes Are Burning from Rio back in June. And, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. We're going to start a little more than halfway through and play maybe about a minute of it. It's great. Here we go.
I couldn't have picked a worse one to show me or to play.
Oh, wow, really? We love it. I'm going to show them. Is that okay? I think they'll love it if we love it.
I mean, yeah.
Okay, because Steve's critical.
I just got to make a cup of tea. Hang on.
Well, Stephen hates everything, and he loves this. Just
that's not true. I love all this.
There's just a little tease for everybody. When Steve sent me this video, Annie, and I started listening to it, and the vocal came in, I thought, that's the Carpet of the Sun voice. I mean, you still have that youthful voice and hit those notes. What have you done to take care of yourself physically and vocally all these years?
Nothing really. I think, like a lot of bands just carried on working and constantly working. Of course, constantly working, you're going to get your voice is going to wear out a little bit if you don't know how to sing correctly, and don't sing when you've got a bad throat, that kind of thing, because then you just make it worse.
Right.
But I don't smoke. I smoked when I was younger, but not very much. Mm-hmm. I don't drink very much anymore, which helps because it's the acidity is not good for your throat. Right. And just careful with it, really. But having said that, I did an interview with somebody, and the guy said to me, he said, "Your voice didn't drop." And I said, "What do you mean my voice didn't drop?" And he said, "Well, women's voices usually drop at a certain age." And Well, there's a lot of female singers that's got the voices, they lose the octaves, you see. But my mother's voice, my mother had a very similar voice to me. She wasn't a singer, but, I remember going, when she was calling when I was out playing, she'd go, so she could have been a singer as well, obviously.
Yeah.
But so it ran in the family, I guess, the same. It stayed the same. Basically, it's a little bit lower, but not much.
That's great. Genetics. Wonderful.
Yeah, I'm going to read a few comments and then go into the next question. So I see that Sue Cook says, I see so much of Vincent van Gogh in your paintings. Love that your studio is possibly haunted. Can't wait to hear those stories. Would make a good October podcast. Oh, there's an idea.
Yeah.
Jim Edwards says I love Annie Haslam and Renaissance. There's no other band even close to them. So unique. Annie is an angel. We feel so blessed every time we hear her. Can't wait until October 20th at the Count Basie in Red Bank, New Jersey, I think. And Brian Krajewski says, your beautiful, timeless music, Annie, and I want to thank you again for giving me the inspiration to get back into my artwork. Yeah, so very great comments. Thank you, people, for chiming in. So Annie, did you imagine, like, way back then, like early on, that Renaissance would still be around these many years later?
Never even thought about it. Actually, I just didn't think about it. It was just carried on, and it never entered my head. It's like if somebody said, "What do you think you'll be doing when you're 75?" I wouldn't have known what to say, but I probably would have said I probably won't be singing.
Right.
But
so what do you think? Like, looking back at all this time since 71, let's say, and thinking of all the things that have transpired socially, musically, the industry, the genres changing, new genres coming in, and Renaissance is held up through, not only held up all that time, even if you retired 30 years ago, but still producing music that is sticking with people. What do you think or have you even thought of that, reflected on all that?
Not really, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've always believed that there's nothing quite like this band. It's timeless, like Yes is timeless. It's a certain kind of music that it will always not sound old fashioned or anything because it's different,
Yeah.
And never really. I think that when we had a hit with Northern Lights, we were pressured to come up with more commercial music, and that's where we kind of made a mistake and started to move away from our roots, and that was a big mistake, I think. But I didn't write music at that time. I wasn't I'm a strong person, but nothing like I am now. Quite fierce, to be honest. Not really fierce, but I know what I want when we're working or whatever. I know what's right and what not to do, and so I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thanks for sharing that. It's been about or almost a decade since the last Renaissance studio album, Symphony of Light, which featured guest John Wetton, who had been in Renaissance many years later, the early 70s.
Early 70s, 72 or 73 or something, yeah.
Ian Anderson, who some people may have heard of. Tom Brislin. What was it like getting them on the album, and how did that come about? Did you just reach out with a phone call, an email? Did you meet up somewhere?
No, I funny enough, I don't even remember what year it was. I get a phone call from, I don't know if it was Ian who actually called me up or whether it was the promoter. that he was doing a show called Rubbing Elbows. Do you remember he did a tour called Rubbing Elbows with his solo band, I guess you would call it.
Yeah.
I don't think he said it was Jethro Tull, did he? I'm not sure. And he asked me if I'd be a guest, and he said one of his favourite songs was Northern Lights, and he wanted me to sing it with him.
Nice.
And then go and sit on that sofa with him afterwards, and with Andre.
Yeah.
From what was on WMGK, Andre.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so and that was a lot of fun. I have to say, but it was great him playing, the flute in Northern Lights, and so we stayed in touch. And when it came to Grandi Nel Vento was the name of the album before we changed it to Symphony of Light, we did not a demo, but we started recording, and Jason Hart, who was our keyboard player then, he was got a great flute sound, and he was playing it during this song "Cry to the World," and I said, "Oh my God, it sounds like Ian Anderson." I thought, well, I wonder if Ian would perform it. Would he record it for us? Yeah. So I contacted him. He said, sure, yeah. He said, I'm on the road. He was in Poland, I think. And he said, we got a day off tomorrow. He said, I'll do a couple of versions for you, and then you choose which one you want. And that's how he did it. It was amazing. Yeah.
Quite gracious. And how did John Wetton get involved?
Well, John, I've known John for many years. And I wrote this piece with Mickey called Blood Silver Like Moonlight. And as I was writing it, I think a lot of people know that I have quite a spiritual side to me, and I hope that it comes out in when I speak and when I sing.
Oh yes.
She told me that, and she didn't know who John was. This was a lady that I went to. She was a very unusual, clairvoyant, very unusual lady, very, very, very gifted, and she told me that that John and I were in the Angels Choir together, and we were both seraphims.
Oh,
and wow. Stop laughing out there if anybody's laughing.
I can't wait to tell my wife this. Wow.
Yeah, and we were both seraphims. And, we've obviously been together before in previous lifetimes. And so it was obvious that he should sing this with me. And so I contacted him, and he loved it. And that's what it's all about, blood that's silver nice. Like moonlight, angels having silver blood, and all, the dancing with the moon. And it was just perfect for our voices. And that's I did sing with him once before that. When he and Jeff Downs did the Icon albums, and they wrote this song called "In the End," and he wanted me to sing on that, so I did that. That was the start of.
Yeah, John had one of the most beautiful male voices. Oh. He was just such a great musician, great songwriter, great singer, great lyricist. Yep. Just all around the whole
great
package.
Great bass player. Yeah. But his voice was nothing like it.
Yeah.
And of course, Tom Brislin came into the band and was with us. He's brilliant. I mean, look where he is. He's with Kansas now. He's perfect with them, Yeah. And he was perfect with us. I mean, just brilliant. One of the best there is. There's no doubt. Yeah. So when he was at the band, I guess for maybe a couple of years, I know he went to Brazil with us. I don't think he was on the. No, he didn't get to perform with the orchestra because he'd left before then. Right. But he was fantastic.
That's awesome. Yeah. We plan on having him on. We'll have to bring that up with him.
Oh yeah.
Steve?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Has there been talk of doing another Renaissance studio album since it's been a while?
Yeah, we talked about it. I mean, I know that there are some songs of Michael's that are around, but it would have to be his music. It wouldn't be the same. I wouldn't do it. It just wouldn't work for me. So there are some songs around, but we haven't got to that yet. I mean, it is a possibility, but not right now. But
Okay.
I'm not saying never.
Yeah.
No, he was a great melodies he wrote, wonderful melodies.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's totally fair.
Yeah.
And the rest of the band did as well. Also,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
It wasn't just Mickey on his own, but I remember when he said, I've written this piece and Betty's written the words. It's called Mother Russia. And I thought, what the heck is that?
Yeah.
What's that going to be about? And he played it to me on the guitar, and we did a little demo of it. And it was like on a small, well, actually, no, it was a big tape like this, I think, and a machine we had. Yeah, and we did it, just the two of us, and that tape is somewhere, but we can never find it, because that would be priceless.
Oh, wow.
To hear that, me singing Mother Russia and me on a guitar,
Yeah.
and with a full orchestra.
Interesting. Steve, do you want to read some more of the comments?
And
And then we'll ask about another partner in crime.
Yeah, let's see what we got here. Okay, I see Joan Leslie says, loved seeing you out at West Hampton Beach, New York with Steve Hackett a few years back. Miles Whitner, I'm sorry if I mispronounced it, would like for the show to come to St. Louis in Missouri here in the US. Dean Paulos says, greatest vocalist of all time, singing some of the finest compositions of the era. David M. Cohen, I'm not sure what David means here, but says, please talk about the cruise, and if yes, might join. I don't know if you're involved with some upcoming music cruise or something, so I don't know what that's about, but yeah, and I see...
I think he's talking about the cruise that's coming up in January, maybe.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. You mentioned cruise then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I guess now we can get into the other Yes member, right, Dad?
Yeah. Let's talk about the amazing work you've done with Steve Howe. I got to tell you, Annie, Turn of the Century is the only song I can think of, let alone the only Yes song I can think of, the only song I can think of that every time I hear it, and I've been listening to it since it came out in 1977, that I get choked up and tearied.
Really?
And yeah, and it's interesting that the late great Alan White, who I knew since 1989, was one of the writers, and both John Anderson and Steve Howe played that as part of their tribute to Alan this past weekend. And your version with Steve is just, it's so angelic. It's amazing. It really is. How did that all come about, working with Steve?
Well, I was contacted by, what label was it on? Magna Carta?
Yeah, that's the one.
Magna Carta, wasn't it? Yeah. And they wanted me to do Ripples, the Genesis
By
song.
Genesis, yeah, that's amazing too.
And Turn of the Century. And of course I said, yes, please. Oh my God, that's perfect for my voice.
Yeah.
And of course, then Steve got involved in that one. And that was amazing because, he's one of the best guitarist in the world. There's no doubt.
Absolutely. In fact, we're having him on tomorrow morning.
Oh, wonderful!
Which we're really excited about.
Yes, yeah.
Really excited.
So I got this guy that was in my band at the time, David Bigling. He's a great keyboard player, writer, and a singer as well, and guitarist. He's multi-talented, really. And he was the one who, I think he produced both of them, actually, and played on them as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed playing that. And then, of course, when I did that concert, put the concert on called Lilies of the Field.
Yeah.
Steve was in that, and then that's one of the songs that we did, was that song.
I have a short clip of you and Steve performing live. It's an audience shot clip, folks, so the audio quality is not great. I don't know how well it'll transfer, but I have to show some of it, even just to show the two of you together on stage. So I'm going to play a little bit of Turn of the Century. I'm going to start the video and just skip in where we know you're singing. Let's check this out. What a great song. And Steve's playing is just magnificent on the classical guitar. And the two of you just mesh so well.
Yeah, it's a good combination.
Yeah, Lilies in the Field is a great track as well. And I know that later on you sang It's All Over Now, Baby Blue for Steve's Portraits of Bob Dylan album. Did he already have you in mind for that song, or how did that process go?
Well, what you mean, Lilies in the Field? Oh, that was I saw this program on Inside Edition about children in this orphanage in
Bosnia.
Bosnia-Herzegovina. And I looked up from what I was doing, and I saw this little baby banging her head against the cot. And I started to cry, and I thought, oh God, this is awful. And so that's what started me off. I contacted a guy called Chris, what's his last name? I can't remember his name. He's a good friend, he'll kill me. Anyway, he was a producer on Inside Edition, and I contacted him, and I said, I don't know what I can do at all. I didn't realize. And then we got talking, and then we decided to do a concert, a benefit concert, to raise funds for this orphanage, or to try and find out about this baby. And it was very involved. I know that and so I contacted Steve, and I said I've got this poem, and I'd written it, and it was called Lilies in the Field, and I gave it to him, and he wrote the music. I think it happened that way. Did it work the other way? No, I'm not quite sure now. He'll tell you tomorrow, but he's probably got a better memory than me. And we did this concert, Phoebe Snow was on it, Cheap Trick, I flew in Roy Wood from England, and Gary Brooker, and Justin Hayward was on it.
Oh.
The guy, oh God, what's his name? He's now a politician. Can't remember his name. Tony Visconti was on it, and we sang the song "Blessing in Disguise" that we wrote together. And we sang that together. That was great. Oh, it was wonderful. And so that's where the song originated, really. And then, of course, but after that, Steve and I decided that we were going to write more together, and I ended up going to England, and we wrote, about 8 songs together, I think, something like that. Oh, wow. But it was at the time when they were all of a sudden, out of the blue, they decided they were going to get Yes back together, and then
again
it didn't work out, which was kind of sad, because there were some great sonws there.
So was this around the time after like the Keys to Ascension recordings, like around?
No. This was God, when the concert was it 97? I think it was 97.
Okay. Yeah. So that would have been in between. Yeah, that makes sense. And then they ended up doing the Open Your Eyes album later with the slightly different lineup.
It was somewhere around that time.
Okay.
And
Were any of these songs ever recorded, or were they only in the written stage?
No, just the demo stage.
Oh, okay.
You think they'll ever come out?
No, don't think so.
No? Okay. Do you want us to pester Steve about that tomorrow? We can.
No. No, don't do that. He's
Who
probably got enough on his plate, you know.
One of the
Yeah.
conversations my wife and I have a lot is, and we both agree on this, like we're really not sure. That's our answer. We're not sure to this question. We ask ourselves, when we think of bands like Renaissance, Genesis, Yes, Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, Jethro Tull, bands that put out that are still around and that put out music 50 fucking years ago, and it's still relevant. And is there anyone that's come out in the last 5 or 10 years that you at least admire? Let alone, maybe their music will last 20 years, or in 50 years, will anyone be talking about anything that's coming out right now? And I don't mean to insult anybody's
No,
music, but I just think things are different.
well, it's a different mindset, isn't it? I mean,
Exactly.
everybody, most people, the younger people just want things that are connected to technology, and don't go out and buy antiques anymore. Or that's a thing of the past, isn't it? For the future. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
I know that's a silly thing to say, but it just came into my mind. I was talking to somebody the other day about that, thinking about, because I love antiques, and but I mean, since I started painting, my passion for antiques kind of changed, really. I don't know why, but they did. But gosh, it's a different mindset.
People are making music for completely different reasons than the 60s and 70s.
Some great bands out there, but I don't listen to a lot of radio or anything, to be honest.
Yeah. Me neither. I listen to the traffic report. I live in the mountains east of Phoenix, so if I'm going down to Phoenix, I might listen to a traffic report.
You should put it to music. A traffic report.
Oh, I like that. Absolutely. I like that. How about visual artists? Are there any contemporary visual artists, people that are painting that you admire? Do you look at what's going on in that world at all?
No. I'm stuck in mine.
That's okay. I wouldn't say stuck, but I know what you mean.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I just I love what I do. I think I wish it was magical and I could do more with it and not worry about all these other things. I do more with my art, because it was suggested to me that I had a form of synesthesia.
Oh yeah, I know what that is.
And a friend of mine, Michael McGlynn, who started a group, an Irish group called Anuna. And if anybody's not heard of them, they should look them up, because the voices of these young women and the men are unbelievable. And it's chanting and all that kind of. He writes the music, and he started off by doing the music for Riverdance.
Oh wow!
Remember Riverdance? They did the earlier music for Riverdance.
Wow!
And he told me that when he writes the music, he sees it in color.
That's synesthesia.
That's one of the things. And then somebody said to me, because of maybe you're connected, because when I paint, most of the time when I'm painting not for myself, but for just painting, I can't explain the feeling I get. It feels a little bit like anxiety, but it's not. But it's something going on. And then I'll paint, and all these things come out that you wouldn't think a woman would paint, like other planets and different things like that. And I can't explain my art. Well, there's some people out there. Like Sue Cook, particularly, who we write to each other every now and again, that understand this kind of art and what it can do for you. And there's a lot of people that do that. There's a lot of people out there that have that gift, and I would say it was a gift.
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
be able to do artwork that you can. I mean, you can show your art, but somebody doesn't have to buy it to get what is in it. You just have to stand in front of it, and that's what I think is. There's a painting in the museum in Philadelphia. What's it called? Oh my! I'm having a rough day today with my memory. and it's a painting of a black warrior, and it's like, it looks like it's a real person on this thing. You can touch it, and it looks like he's going to come off, but you just stare at it. You know what I mean? You just get right into the painting, and I think that's a good thing. But I just wish that if that's the gift, couldn't we turn it into something more tangible, like peace on the planet, and do more with it? I get frustrated about things like that, thinking, well, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
You know.
Oh gosh, I feel
the reason for it.
You have so much in common with my wife as an artist. I'm looking for her on my text. I want to see if there's a piece of work I'd love to show you, and I honestly can't remember if it's here or at the gallery, so I'm just going to ask her real quick. Honey, if you have the Majid here, will you please quickly bring it in my office? If he's not here, that's okay. I can't remember if he's at the gallery. My wife gets downloads, and she paints spirit people that are of different time periods and different cultures, and she uses mixed media. So she's using different things for coloring, different paints, but then they have clothing, they have jewelry. She'll sculpt a hand, put a bracelet on it, lips, and a lot of them are life size. And she started doing this after she lost her mother, and she went in a place so dark she forgot how to read, how to write. She had kids at home, and these spirit people came to her and told her, you don't know what real problems are. You need to pull yourself out of this.
Wow.
This was 20-something years ago, and ever since then, she keeps painting them, and she gets these downloads and then looks up. She paints a village and then looks that up, and there are real photos of these same things. It's really an interesting thing, and has the same synesthesic, if I put it that way.
Yeah.
It's synesthesia, but I'll call it a synesthesic experience
Right.
that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if she's even seeing my text, but I'd love for you to see this sometime.
Oh my.
So maybe I'll have to email you some photos.
You'll have to send me something. I'm interested in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
That would be great.
So if I do it like on the Indiegogo page, I did Ashes Are Burning because I paint songs.
Yeah.
And so the Ashes Are Burning as I did for this gentleman, and I just finished Mother Russia for him, and that was difficult because I knew that I was going to have a battle with whatever it is I've got inside, what I was going to put on the canvas with what was going on right now. And it is in the painting, but not in a really bad way. But I couldn't stop it from coming into the painting.
I was going to say, it's not healthy to bottle those energies up. You've got to let them spill out in whatever, whether it's music, whether it's writing, whether it's painting.
Yeah. I when I do a painting though so I've done several versions of Ashes Are Burning, and they're nothing like each other, because what I do is I tune into the person and their feelings for the song. So they'll write down the feelings and how they feel when they listen to that song, and I paint their feelings for the song.
Beautiful.
So it's different. Everybody's got a different version of Northern Lights, say, and Ashes Are Burning.
That's great.
Yeah.
I think
It's lovely. I love it. It's fascinating, and I love it, really.
Great. Thanks for sharing that with us, too. I think Steve has one last question, and then maybe a few more comments if you want to fire those off, Steve. People are just filling up the thing.
Yeah.
We'll send you the link to this, too, Annie, so you can go through it.
Okay.
Yeah, I see Tom Brislin was actually watching. It says, hi, Andy.
Hey, Tom.
Yeah, and Jim Edwards says, at the harbor, one of my all-time favorites. So haunting, so beautiful. Hoping it works its way into the set list. And so I guess my question would be, is there anything in the works for the future you can talk about, whether it be solo or collaborations or anything else related to Renaissance?
Well, what we're doing is we're doing this tour. Then I have my Christmas show at Sellersville Theatre, which I used to do every year, but we missed it for the last couple of years, of course. And then in January, we're actually going to be on the Blue cruise, which is Justin's cruise now,
Yeah.
because it's not the Moody Blues. We did do the Moody Blues, and we did do the Cruise to the Edge.
Yeah.
So we're doing this one, which I'm really excited about.
Oh, that's great.
Because Alan Parsons is going to be on it, and I
Oh,
love it.
wow.
Yeah, Alan Parsons, Al Stewart, our old friend Al Stewart.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Loving Spoonful.
Wow, what a
Yeah,
legendary
it's
lineup.
great cruise. Yeah, it really is it's a lot of really great artists on there.
Where's the cruise going? Where's it?
It starts off in Belize, I believe.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
great.
So it's 5 days, and I I mean, if you can afford it as a fan, I mean, what better to be on a cruise?
Oh, smothered in all that wonderful music.
And it's music all day. I mean, there's a certain, what they do is they have certain times when they dock, and then people can go off and walk around or whatever, and go to the beach and stuff, and then it's just, it's just music all the time, and you get to see all your favorite bands. Really,
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, I just found the link to this. I think someone earlier was wondering if Yes were on it. I don't see them listed here at a glance.
no, they're not on that one. That one this one is called On the Blue, which is
Okay.
Justin Hayward is.
Yeah.
is,
Steve
you
just
know,
put the link to it in the comments.
Yeah.
right.
Awesome. Annie,
Yeah.
thank you so much, first of all, for so much music over the years, so much wonderful music. Thank you for that. And thanks for taking time tonight to join Stephen and I on Yes Shift. And please hang on the line for a moment after we say goodbye to the audience. And folks, thanks for joining Steve and myself with Annie Haslam. We really appreciate you following Yes Shift and what we do. And join us if you're watching this live or see the replay before Wednesday the 5th at 8:45 a.m. Pacific time. Steve Howe, a new flash in the pan guitarist, I guess, who's on the scene, is going to join us, and we're going to talk about some work he's done with Virgil, of course, his late son, and the current Yes tour. Thanks, everybody. We will see you soon.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.